everybody. Welcome to the Macabre Podcast universe. I'm Micah.
I'm Jordan.
And, you're probably wondering why it sounds like this, because it usually has a higher quality audio. It's because I wanted to put as much effort into this episode as was put into the movie Deadpool and Wolverine. And I think it might be a little too high already that I'm doing. But this is a very serious episode because this is a turning point for all things the Macabre Podcast universe. Would you not agree, Jordan?
Yes.
It was a huge turning point. So, and the first thing I want to say is, if you enjoyed Deadpool and Wolverine, that's so great of you. And I honestly would suggest that you don't listen to the rest of this episode. So now, if you're still there, I'm going to be merciless here. As you all know, I'm not a Ryan Reynolds fan. Neither is Jordan. And we were not looking forward to seeing this movie. I mean, we just covered Satyajit Ray's Apu trilogy, and now we got to cover Deadpool?
We considered just not covering it because it's been hard to cover new releases just with baby stuff. But it is Marvel. It is the reason why we started this podcast.
Yeah, MCU, MPU. But then came down to it. It's been tough to get it scheduled, and we got it scheduled. I'm hearing some people say it's amazing. I love everything about it. And then people who I tend to lean more toward are like, this is insufferable, and it is a mess. And we're going to have Kateri on. We're making her triumphant return. It would have been fun because she's never seen the Deadpool movies, and she'd have had a
big Wolverine fan.
Huge Wolverine fan. And so here we are. And I said, I'm making it sound like it's very somber. It's really not. But I said, okay, I'll get a ticket and I'll go see the movie at 11:35, and then Jordan, you can go see the movie at 7:30 with Kateri, because we just couldn't manage both of us seeing it at the same time. So I go to the movie, get a bucket of popcorn, well, actually a small bag of popcorn, get a beer, and I'm like, you know what? Because I kind of went back and forth where I was like, I don't want to see this movie, but I'm hearing about all these cameos that are probably poorly done, but it is kind of fun to see that stuff, and I'm thinking maybe I can just see this movie for what it is and at least walk out having had a fun time. And, well, I should also mention, no. Yes, we go in, but before that, we heard the news that Tony Stark is Doomsday. Or that
Robert Downey Jr. is Dr. Doom.
And I was just like, what are they doing? This is crazy. And maybe that'll work out. Maybe it'll be cool.
No, it won't.
But it doesn't seem like it. Because it seems like their best option would be that he's not a Tony Stark variant or anything like that, but it's just a guy with a scarred up face played by Robert Downey Jr. That's their best bet. But I think they're going to convolute it.
I think that Robert Downey Jr.'s Oscar should be stripped from him. Mm-hmm. Because of this decision. Because apparently in his campaigning for that, he's like, Christopher Nolan saved me. I was stuck with Marvel for so long. And he
kept calling it real acting. He was doing real acting. Yeah, he
finally gets to do real acting. He was thanking Christopher Nolan, you saved my career. So on and so forth. Wins an Oscar. And then what does he do? Psych. He has a big middle finger to prestige cinema.
Yeah. And you know us, I love Endgame. Like, yeah. It was more that he was kind of bashing him. And so then they cast him, and I'm just like, why don't you just cast somebody else? Because now it's either a really convoluted story that I'm not interested in, or it's like, you couldn't have like, it feels very desperate. Also,
Marvel has become so self-referential anymore.
Yeah.
And
the multiverse
so
is not
self-aware. So why would you cast the same actor to play a different role?
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, but if you want to hear more on that, who knows? You may never hear more on it, because this is a kind of a two-part episode. So I go to Deadpool and Wolverine by myself, and by the way, I got the popcorn and beer before I went to the bathroom, and I went to the bathroom, and I was able to use the urinal, hold my popcorn and beer, and get my hands washed and everything. So I believe...
So there was an upside.
An absolute upside, just being like, holy cow. Like,
Micah left the bathroom and they gave him a gold medal.
I am capable of this sort of thing. It was just kind of what I was walking in. So we walk in.
You walk in.
I walk in, the formal we walk in.
The royal we.
The royal we. And sitting there, watch the trailers, very excited about Alien. And the movie begins. And Deadpool starts humming along to the Marvel Studios logo. And the movie's going along, and I'll get into a little more details, but here's the headline. I walked out of this movie. I have walked out of 2 movies in my life. Anchorman 2, the extended unrated cut, and now Deadpool and Wolverine. And I texted Jordan during the movie, which I am a firm no-texter during a movie, and I said, we're not doing this. Because I knew how much Jordan didn't want to see it, and I knew how much Kateri wanted to see it to do the episode and have fun with us, but she didn't want to see it either. And I just said, we're not doing this. We're done with Marvel. So we can get back to that. But now I can tell you a little bit more about Deadpool, Jordan.
Okay.
So it starts with him going to the grave of Logan.
Okay.
And this was one of the 3 funny things that were in the movie that I had seen in the first half hour. So he says, I know what you're all wondering. How are we going to pull this off without desecrating the memory of Logan? And I thought, oh, that's kind of funny, clever. And then he's like, we're not. We are going to desecrate him. And he's like digging and digging and digging. He digs up his bones. And then he's like, oh, he is dead. I thought he wasn't dead. And then it's this fight scene where he's using his adamantium bones to kill all these guys as the credits are rolling.
Okay.
It's... I mean, I'm not...
Is the action bad?
It's really bad.
Okay.
It's really bad. And then it's all to NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye.
Okay.
Why? I don't know. I don't know why they chose that song.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem... People just sometimes just throw a song on something and they're like, that's
to get
funny.
a reaction. I don't know.
Yeah, and then he's also doing the Bye 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 dance, which was kind of funny.
Okay.
And so I'm like, okay, interesting, whatever. And then the movie's going on, and I think Peter said something that was funny.
Who's
the guy who
Peter?
plays Peter, who the Paul F. Tompkins knockoff with the mustache that was in the last movie.
Okay.
The guy who you're like, you're allowed to hire Paul F. Tompkins. You don't have to hire someone who looks like him.
Listen, he doesn't need to be. He doesn't need to lower himself.
I'm glad he's not. But every line of dialogue in this movie, I mean, truly, like everything, it was like, even more so than the last 2 movies, it was like, okay, either A, this is shot during a writer's strike, which it was.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like, I'm sure every single Deadpool joke in this movie was made after they shot the movie.
Oh.
Every single one.
Oh.
And then just every line, it's like, oh, so they sat there for 15 minutes and just improv'd.
Yeah.
And then they just took the, quote, best ones. But Ryan Reynolds isn't a very good improviser, in my opinion. As someone who listens to improv every single week, he's not very good at it. Also, the movie kind of had a bit of a homophobic vibe to it to me.
Okay.
I'm not sure. There were just the classic Deadpool gay jokes that felt like they're like, we're accepting of this, but also it feels like they're also like, but it's, I don't know, they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. There was one line in particular where I was like, really? We're what is this, 2001? Okay. So that's going on. And he's, Jordan's looking through a book she got from Amazon. So all of that to say, he's doing all this stuff, and then Tom Wamsgans from Succession shows up, and he's like the head of the TVA now. Now, if you had not seen the Loki show, they kind of explain it.
Sorry, who's the head of that now?
Tom Wamsgans.
Oh, okay.
I mean Matthew McFadyen.
Yeah.
If you've
so
not,
this is what he succeeded. He successed
Yeah.
to run this. Okay.
It's just one of those things where I'm like, if you have not watched the TV show, I think you'd be pretty confused by this. Like, they explain it. You'd kind of get it, but it's like, what is this?
Yeah.
What is this? And he basically says, this is what he says. He says, the movie Logan was really beloved and good, and then when Logan died, that timeline had to end, but they kept making X-Men movies, and people didn't like those. So we need you to either join our timeline, aka the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or bring back Logan. That's what he tells him.
Okay.
That is the plot of this movie, which is we want you to sell tickets. Like
yeah, it's quite literally.
It is like so contrived of any artistic thought. And because I know if you like the movie, you're probably like, yeah, but that's the whole thing with Deadpool. Yes and no. It's like you can make a few jokes, but when even the last two movies, as much as I don't like the second one, but the first one and the second one, they're like, hey, we're gonna be self-referential and crazy, but this is a love story, and it's about him and what's her name, and the next one's like, this is a family movie. Yeah. It's like they were like, okay, does it accomplish it? That's a different question. But this one's like, hey, we just need Wolverine on the screen because Marvel needs a hit, and they remind us of that.
Yeah.
He refers to himself as Marvel Jesus a bunch, which is just annoying.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm offended by it. It's just like, that's the best you got?
Yeah.
This is the great improviser who's like the biggest actor of the world? Okay, have fun with your stupid gin. And then there's a montage of him looking for Wolverines, and this was the second funny part. There was a comic accurate sized Wolverine, and he points that out.
So he was small.
And he was really tiny, but it was Hugh Jackman, and that was funny.
Okay.
So that's a joke number 2 that I thought was funny.
Okay.
We're 20 minutes into this movie. Mm-hmm. Joke number 2, and there's been about 200 jokes. Also, the theater, there were 2 people laughing. Everyone else was quiet. Mm-hmm. And so then he goes through, he meets Henry Cavill as Wolverine, because I'm sure somebody fan casted that.
Yeah.
And once again, fan casting does not a movie make. And then he finds the guy for this, and then they go, and basically they get like deleted, and they go to like Nowhere World, where the Fox logo is, because that's deleted. Do you get it? Yeah. People chuckled at seeing the Fox logo. And then I'm realizing, this movie's mostly going to take place in a place where there are no civilians and there's no stakes. It's just a whitewashed wasteland. Very cool. Real inventive. What will they think of next? Another airport to fight in? So that's all happening. And then they meet Captain America, or they think so, and it's played by Chris Evans. And this was joke number 3 that was funny. And Deadpool's like, hey, this is crazy. He's gonna say the line. He's gonna say Avengers Assemble. And then he says Flame On, because he played the Human Torch. I thought that was funny. And then that's when I texted you, and I started saying, and you hadn't responded in like 2 minutes. You hadn't responded. And then I said, I'm leaving.
So this is a question about Deadpool.
Yeah.
I know that
he sucks and he's the worst. What?
Yeah, but I know he breaks fourth wall, so on and so forth. But like to have, I guess to me it's like it's fun that he would do that as like an added bonus fun thing. But this movie is only breaking the fourth wall. Like that's the point and the plot of it is to break the fourth wall.
The plot is we have to save the cinematic universe because the last 4 movies haven't really done that well, except for Guardians.
Isn't it just always more interesting to be like the first movie? It's about this thing saving somebody, stopping a bad guy. Like that's simple. Oh, but I do look at the audience and wink while I'm doing it.
That's the thing. Yeah,
I'm sure there are probably some Deadpool comics where it does get too meta, especially since the movies. Mm-hmm. But to hear that explained, it's like that sounds boring. I go to the movie because I want to escape reality.
Yeah.
Not to. I don't know.
It is boring.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when I was seeing the trailers for this movie, I don't think I ever shared this with you, but I felt like they were really highlighting like, hey, my world's getting destroyed and I need your help. And I was like, it seems like they weren't leaning on jokes in the trailer. To me, I thought there were only like 2 or 3 jokes, and most of them were kind of sight gags, maybe. And so I was like, maybe this movie is like gonna be like less funny and more plot, which could be a Deadpool problem, but at least they're like trying something.
Yeah.
They're not trying anything. Sean Levy's an absolute hack, and I actually truly believe with my heart I could have directed a better movie than this. I absolutely believe that. And so I walked out. I think it's total trash. It makes Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania seem like The Godfather.
Wow, that's crazy.
And for years, I've pretty much felt like Suicide Squad was the worst movie I've ever seen. And I think it's not even a contest. Suicide Squad is such a better movie than this. There's no choices being made. I mean, because, I've seen movies that are like maybe quality worse, but they make choices. And that goes a long way. Mm-hmm. That goes a long way. But there's only 2 movies I've ever left the theaters for, and one was an extended unrated version. So maybe like if I saw the normal Anchorman 2, it wouldn't even be that bad.
Yeah.
This was just utter heaps and piles of trash, and I hated it, and it was so bad that with that and the Doctor Doom announcement and the fact that while I was watching this movie, I kid you not, folks, I was sitting there as a father, and I felt guilty for being at the theaters. I was like, I need to go home and be with my daughter because this is not cool. This is taking time away from my family. Even though I love watching movies and going to the theaters any time of the day.
Yeah.
And so I left. Kateri was like, cool, I don't have to watch the movie. Jordan was like, cool, I don't have to watch the movie. And now comes the second part of this episode. We are the Macabre Podcast Universe, and we are based on the MCU, and we've covered it. But folks, that ends today. We will no longer be covering future releases.
Well, for now.
For now? Oh,
I mean, I'm just saying, like, years from now, I could see you and I just being like, hey, now we feel like we're in a good place where we have a little bit extra time. I know that will not... I mean down the road.
Okay.
Down the road. Where it's like, let's just see what they've been getting up to.
Okay.
Because we have seen everything. I mean, not all the shows, but we've been in it for so long that I could see us at a certain point down the road being curious because it is, like, part of our generation.
Yeah.
I'm just going to...
Yeah, okay. All right.
Mr. Sweeping statement, just I'm trying to talk you down off the ledge a little bit.
Yeah, sure. I appreciate that. I love you. Yeah, I think... But at least for the time being, and I'm sorry, I hate disappointing people, but hopefully that's okay. We're done with the MCU. And part of it is, like, I actually think Captain America looks pretty good. I do want to see that movie, but it's like Thunderbolts has been, like, plagued with problems and sound like it's going to be a mess. This Doctor Doom announcement, and then having to sit through this Deadpool movie, it's like, the only thing I'm excited about is Fantastic Four. So, what's there left for me? And they're still on their multiverse crap.
They're obsessed with it. I think they're stuck.
I think they are.
I think, like, they've opened the multiverse, and they can't get out of it. Mm-hmm. Or something, like, they've made it too complicated to the point where they can't not address it in every single thing that they do. It's just too much. It's too much. I'm so over it.
I have heard that I think Doomsday, which is the name of the next Avengers movie, I think this anyway. In the comics, that's when they, like, break down to one timeline again.
Okay.
So that's probably what they're gonna do. Although that doesn't make sense because I've read comics all over the place and they always have timelines. So I don't know if the person I heard that from knew anything or not. But all that to say.
All that to say.
Yeah.
We're in August now. So we're heading toward the end of summer. But if you're still like, oh man, that was going to be my summer movie. Good news. There's still the summer movies out there. And it's not Deadpool. It's Trap. Which hopefully you've even seen this by the time this little thing has come out. But do yourself a favor and go have a lot of fun watching Josh Hartnett's face so up close on a giant screen.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out this cat and mouse game.
It's really a fun movie.
Fun
time at the theaters.
So good. I think it's M. Night's funnest movie.
Yeah, I agree. It is certainly later period. I mean, I got a soft spot for, Split and Glass, but I liked it more, at least on first glance, than Old and Knock at the Cabin. But if you're someone who doesn't like late period Shyamalan, this is not going to convert you.
It's still fun, though.
But
just go in for a fun night.
It's so good.
Summertime at the movies. Yeah. And even with that, Josh Hartnett killed it.
Yeah.
It was so good.
I don't really have any complaints with that movie. I just was full on in the ride the whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we say goodbye to you, Marvel, and we spend time with you, Denzel, when we go to Equalizer in a couple of weeks. And if you want to see me play a show, September 6th, go to the Eden Ballroom, and September 7th I'll be playing in Eugene. I don't know where yet, but if you want to see me play a show with a band, both shows will be with a band. So come out and do that. But yeah, I mean, it's in the spirit of the movie to say screw you, Deadpool. So see you later, Deadpool, and screw you.
See ya.
Well, there's only one thing left to do, and that's to play the funeral song for Marvel. It was early morning yesterday. I was up before the dawn, and I really have enjoyed my stay, but I must be moving on. Like a king without a castle, and like a queen without a throne, I'm an early movie watcher, and I must be moving on. Goodbye, Marvel, it's been nice. Hope you find your paradise. Tried to see your point of view. Hope your dreams will all come true. Goodbye, Tony and Doctor Strange. Will we ever meet again? Feel no sorrow.